What is up, guys? How we doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Jedi In Exile. We are back on that Andor hype. We have just finished watching episode 10 called One Way Out.
One way out! One way out!
And we're now about to jump in, let you know what we thought, kind of all of that good stuff. But before we do, don't forget, hit like, hit subscribe, notification bell, all that great stuff. Massively appreciate all of the support you guys have been showing us so far. Brian, talk to me. Episode 10, we are almost at the end.
Yeah, I have to say, so I'm going to boldly go where we've not gone before yet. This, I think, was my favourite episode of Andor so far.
Ooh, okay.
So this one will come to scores at the end, but it's going to be a good one.
Okay.
So I really, really enjoyed this one. I think I really enjoyed it because it's, I don't know, it's like those underdogs, isn't it? Like all the prisoners. So the episode, and it starts off, obviously, we know the previous episode ended with Olaf was like
dying.
Dying. Obviously, he was injected, and it's the Andy Serkis character. It's like the whole. It's come like full circle now. Like he was the one before who was like, no, we just have to do our
Keep
shifts.
in order, like
and then we can get out. We can do this. We can do that. You know, we just got to cooperate, do our work, go to sleep, do our work, go to sleep, and then we're out. And he realizes now that no one's getting out, and so I think it's his like I say, full circle moment where he's like, holy crap, we've got to get out of here. And then the whole episode of them like taking down the guards and liberating themselves from the prison, like I almost found myself chanting the one way out as they're running. Like the way the episode is made, like the way they filmed it, I think it's a really incredible episode with like, obviously there's so much happening, but I don't know, it's just each stage I was like, this is actually going to work, they're going to do it. And then at the end it's like that, again, that liberation where they see fresh air, they see just a horizon, and obviously they see the water, and then the Andy Serkis character like just looking back and he's like, I can't swim. And it's like, it's so funny because you can imagine him being like absolutely terrified, because if you're jumping from like what is, you know, hundreds of feet in the air by the looks of it, and like you're about to jump down and you can't swim, you're thinking like, I've just escaped this prison only to die in the water. And it's almost like that, it's that underlying comedy, like it's not meant to be like hilarious, but it's funny, isn't it?
I think that was awesome for me for two reasons. One, I laughed because it was quite funny.
It's a funny moment.
But it's also that massive thing of, he's kind of gone, he knows that when they initiate the jailbreak, there's no going back for him.
Yeah.
And he obviously knows that they are surrounded by water, because obviously when they come, they see where they are. Yeah. And so he knows that he is, everything that he is about to do, he is doing for like the greater good of everybody. Well, it's not going to benefit him because he can't get away.
Andor says, doesn't he, about, he says, I'd rather go out fighting like than just let them kill me in here.
Kind of thing. Essentially they are getting, like, it was that thing of, even if this fails, we're not giving them what they want.
Yeah, well, Andy Serkis clearly kind of cared about maybe some of the people in his shift, because for Olaf, he was like to the doctor, come on, he's only got like 40 shifts left, come on, you know, you've got to help him, he's about to get out. So he probably knows the struggle they're going through, because obviously he's going through it, he's counting down his shifts, and saying like he's got like 241 left, I think, given the previous episode. So yeah, it was really interesting episode in regards to the prison. And then obviously on the flip side of that, we had Mon Mothma meeting the gangster, this mob guy from Chandrila, who is trying to set his son up with her daughter in exchange for 400,000 credits.
Well, this was like the thing for me that was kind of, we talked about it in a couple of the previous like things that we filmed, where we talked about the fact that one of the things that we love about this series is that it's not all gunfire explosions, but it's showing like a realistic kind of transition between what was the Republic and now the Empire. And kind of, we talked about the fact that you know, that when you watch the original trilogy without any of this context, you're just kind of like, you don't really go, oh, who was bankrolling like the rebellion? And then you see all this stuff and all the problems that it's kind of caused her, and you got kind of both with her and with Luthen, this kind of, they're gonna have to mix with some shady people and do some things that they're not proud of.
Shady things, yeah, absolutely.
In order to make this happen,
which is where we then come to a nice bit with Luthen talking to his source inside the ISB, Gingy.
Yeah, the guy with the tash. Great tash, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic. Real old school, proper military. And that was really interesting, in that Luthen obviously kind of admits that he has to get down in the mud with these people, he has to get down and dirty, because he realises that to make people angry at the Empire, he's got to, sacrifice lives.
So make people open their eyes to how bad the situation is.
Yeah, exactly. And he's almost facilitating that. And he says, he this long speech, doesn't he, to the source, because the source is like, I'm a dad now, I can't do this. I need to walk away.
Yeah, it's like, I've given however many years it is to to the cause.
And Luthen comes obviously this long spiraling speech about what he's given up, and
the bit that really stuck with me on it was he talked about all the stuff that he's given up, and he's like, I can't have decency, I can't have all of that kind of stuff. But the bit that really stuck with me, there was a line, I'm probably going to misquote, but it was something like, I realise I have to use the tools of my enemy against them, which was essentially him saying, the Empire is evil.
Yeah, the Empire needs to be evil.
But the only way that I can fight them is by doing the same thing, essentially.
Yeah. Well, the Empire needs to be evil. They need to step over a line, because if they constantly do bad stuff, but people aren't being severely punished because of it, then people will be like, well, yeah, it's all in the name of the greater good and keeping order, because that's obviously the Empire's big line, isn't it? Creating order. But it's when they step over that line that people are like, okay, that's not okay, we hate them because of this, and they rise up. That's his idea, isn't it? So he needs the Empire to be evil, and like we say, he basically facilitates that. So the episode, I think, had so much. Obviously the prison scene was just really great, the liberation of the prisoners, the whole when they wait for the elevator to come halfway down and the water's flooding out, and obviously the floor can't
they go to fry the floor.
Yeah, the
and
floor
actually
can't be electrocuted.
I noticed there was a bit where Kino shouts get on the tables, and he doesn't because and there's a bit where he closes his eyes because he's like, I'm about to get fried, and then it all shorts out before it manages to kill him.
And it's those couple of seconds, isn't it, where he looks up at the guards and then he's like, attack, and everybody just goes gun ho for it, and that's the bit where I'm like, yeah, picking up a lightsaber in my hand. It's yeah, one way out.
It was class, and it was we got the Kino obviously did the speech over the tannoy that was now is the time,
rise up kind of thing.
We need to do this, which was absolutely class. One of the things that I didn't bring up before, but kind of really only maybe sunk in a little bit when I was watching this episode, when we saw them working on the machines a little bit more. I assume that they are working on the parts that they are working on. I've just made the assumption that's parts for the Death Star.
Well, everybody keeps saying they're building the Death Star, but the Death Star, obviously there's a lot of parts that need to go into the Death Star. The Death Star was started being built at the end of episode 3.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're fully building it, but they might be doing parts for it.
They may well be, but the Death Star was pretty much...
It's a third complete, right? When you see the bit where they look out at the end of...
Yeah, at the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
But in Rogue One, which is obviously only 5 years after this, or 4.5 years, whatever, the Death Star is basically almost complete. So I don't know whether they are building Death Star stuff. I think that if it was Death Star, I feel like they would have maybe made some kind of mention to it, because they would have wanted to say to the fans, it is the Death Star. Yeah. So I think the fact that they've left it where no one was talking about where these parts are going to...
Maybe it's going to come out in the finale.
Maybe it might do.
Or episode 11.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we maybe won't see any more of the prison now, and we're about to watch episode 11, so we don't know yet. But I feel like the scene at the end was really good, where you see them a bird's eye view swimming out of the free corners.
Yeah, and we finally got to see
So I feel like that might be the end of the prison now.
We got to see Melshi and Cassian kind of at the end, just like running.
Oh yeah, running on like a cliff.
Yeah, so they made it to land, but we don't know what kind of.
Yeah, and we don't know how many
next.
of them because we obviously only saw those two. So and there was probably however many swam with them. So yeah, it was such a great episode, I have to say. Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, scores. Yeah. I'll let you go first on this score.
Do you know what? I want to give it a 9, I think. So, I feel like it's just, like, this, again, could have been a season finale episode for me. It wouldn't have wrapped up anybody else's storyline, but it would have, they could have done a to be continued, like...
Yeah, with them swimming out of the prison,
there was like the big old, like, they've actually managed to get out and then leave it on a cliffhanger for season 2. I'm kind of glad they haven't, because obviously we just get more
normally you would have
stuff.
10 episodes in a series, wouldn't you? A lot of the time with the Star Wars stuff, the Mandalorian has had 10, so you would think it would be 10, but yeah, I'm in agreement. It'll be interesting to see where they go in episode 11 and episode 12, because with only 2 episodes left, you kind of wonder what's gonna.
Well, it's kind of what
happen.
They're gonna have to set something up. So not necessarily with Cassian's story, but there's all these threads.
Definitely with Mon Mothma, because obviously that got left with like the marriage proposal between the kids who were like 14. I don't know how old her daughter is, but obviously the son of the mob guy is 14. Like.
She says similarly aged.
Yeah, and she's Mon Mothma's like, I'm not considering this, and he's about to walk out, and he's like, you already are. So I feel like there's something going on there, and obviously we would assume, I say obviously, but I'm kind of assuming here that Mon Mothma in the originals maybe doesn't have a family. I know it's not alluded to, we don't know, but it'll be interesting to see maybe if she distances herself from her family, or her family distance themselves from her, because they don't seem to be big fans of hers, and I maybe think that's maybe because she was in an arranged marriage, maybe. So loveless marriage. So obviously got this kid, but the kid feels very distant towards her, maybe because she's in the Senate all the time. Yeah, they just obviously don't really seem to get on as a family, do they? So yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with that.
So yeah, 9 for me. I thought pretty blockbuster episode, but there's room to kind of see what happens with all of these threads that I'm hoping they're going to pull together for like the last couple episodes.
Well, I am in complete agreement with the score. I'm also giving it a 9, and I don't think I've gone higher than a 7.5 yet. I maybe gave an 8 on the bank price. Yeah, absolutely. Go back and roll the tape.
So for me,
but I am going definitely for a 9.
That is even easier maths than normal, because that has an average score of a 9.
You got it.
So no, honestly, class. Cannot wait for episode 11 and episode 12.
Yeah.
We are literally 2 weeks away from finding out exactly what happens.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Let us know in the comments down below, guys, what you thought of the episodes, what awesome scenes you enjoyed, or if you didn't enjoy it, let us know as well. We always are interested to kind of find out what people think. While you're down there, hit like, hit subscribe, all that usual great stuff.
Can I do that? Is it going to be
do
somewhere
that.
there?
You can do that. You can
so
do that.
Somewhere along here it'll be
like and subscribe. But yeah, other than that, guys, we'll see you all real soon in the next one.
May the force be with you all.